Ole Miss at Oklahoma. Obviously, the Rebels, after that horrendous display of defense, now have to travel to Norman. On the bright side, Oklahoma's offense isn't what we thought it might was going to look like maybe at this point of the year, at least you and me. We were very high on John Mateer early on. He comes back from the injury, doesn't look like himself. Obviously, they can't run the football that well. Their defense, though, is pretty solid. So you do have to face
one of the best in the nation.
No doubt. So 11 a.m. kicks, or I guess noon kick. Well, what is it? I guess it's 11 a.m. It's a central time for them. So,
always been tricky for Lane Kiffin coach teams.
Yeah, Ole Miss has it hard with those 11 a.m. kicks. I want to lean towards Ole Miss. I just don't have the same faith I did in Oklahoma as I did before. It doesn't feel like the same kind of environment that you were going to maybe walk into if they were a little better, had they won Red River rivalry or Mateer came back from the injury better. But, I mean, it is still a hostile environment. They get down in Norman. It's going to be hard. I do think that Ole Miss having just played in Sanford helps. I mean, for Trinidad, who played very well in his first road start in that environment, but now he gets to go into an environment in Norman, which will be rocking, but he just dealt with Sanford, where I don't think that'll be as much of a factor as we thought maybe it was going to be. I'm going to lean towards Ole Miss on this one. Maybe that's the homer in me, but it's going to have to be a shootout. But I do think that John Mateer is a little more limited than maybe what Georgia's offense did to Ole Miss's defense.
I'm saying Ole Miss loses this game just because I said that in the preseason, and I don't feel particularly good about where Ole Miss is defensively right now. Not a single stop against
I don't
Georgia.
either.
And yeah, John Mateer in Oklahoma's offense, I don't know. Like,
he's turnover prone, and that's really where I think it comes down to.
But Ole Miss doesn't get turnovers defensively.
They don't. But when a quarterback is desperate, maybe this is the game that you. Maybe this is the game you finally start sending Perkins in. And the note about Satarin Perkins too, I think, when I watched him against Georgia in person, I think a part of him not being the same Perkins from a year ago is they're asking him to do a lot this year to cover up for other deficiencies. Like, I do think that obviously he has to be a QB spy and he plays that role, but even against Georgia on run plays and stuff, I mean, he's running from one end of the field to the other end of the field to try to make a tackle. Like, he's having to do so much. And I maybe think that might be hamstringing Golding's ability to use him like he did last year, because I do think that there are deficiencies and it's like he's having to do more than he had to even a year ago. So hopefully there will be a game where we just get to see him rush the passer and get his sack numbers up. Maybe it's this one. Mateer is deadly on the ground, but maybe you finally just get in his face and say, run it on us. But I'm taking Ole Miss. Taking Ole Miss on that.
I'm taking Oklahoma. I don't know what the score is. And, like, look, last week I said to start the week 31-28 Georgia, and then I changed it to 34-27 Ole Miss by the end of the week. Like, these things can change, but just coming off of last week, because I've been saying it like this, it's less about Oklahoma because that's a losable game. All games are losable games. They could lose to Mississippi State. They could lose to Florida. I mean, Florida beat Texas. You know, Texas almost got beat by Kentucky. Anybody can beat anybody. I think Ole Miss is going to lose at least one more game. But staring 10-2 in the face means they're a playoff team, and that's where, if you're Lane Kiffin, all of this rumor stuff, are you going to let it be like 2022? Because you've got another opportunity to do the thing that you haven't done at Ole Miss, and last year was a failure when you went 9-3 with an historic defense and Jackson Dart quarterback. So if you fell short last year, and this year you allow it to derail, because you can lose any of these games because your defense is playing in a really bad way right now. Right. Your defense is in a bad place, and Florida
they'll lose again. They're going to lose again. Yeah, I think. See, I'm scared of a Florida. Honestly, I think like DJ Lag. State, too. Yeah, Mississippi State, Florida. I think those games scare me. Who knows? Lenore Sellers could have a renaissance game against this defense. You know what I mean? So it's all within the realm of possibility.
Last year, one of the 3 of 5 10-win seasons for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. State was terrible. They've lost 14 straight SEC games. Jeff Lebby's 0 for 10. I keep waiting for them to get that one win because, like, it writes itself if it's Ole Miss. Of course they could win. They should have beaten Florida.
Yeah.
They were controlling Florida. Like, Mississippi State is right there. They're just, they're not in the same breath right now as an Ole Miss or a Georgia or anything like that, but they're close enough to where they can get you. So, yeah, Ole Miss has losable games. Yeah, I do too. I think, and that's what I'm saying. How do you not think that way right now? So it's less about Oklahoma. I'm picking Oklahoma just because I don't know. I think Ole Miss finishes 10-2. That's the real takeaway. They're going to lose one more game, in my opinion. But what that game is, I don't know. It could get worse though if Lane Kiffin allows this to be like 2022 with Auburn.
Yeah,
same no doubt about it. Because he can say it's not a distraction, and that's what he said. But I know for a fact it was a distraction in 2022 by the amount of people I talked to.
It's the coach speak aspect.
And this feels like that in a lot of ways, and it could spiral if you let it. And that's what Ole Miss fans really wanted to hear from Lane, was just like, hey, man, me and Keith are working it out. We'll get it done. But he's not. He's never played it that way.
Right.
He's doing it exactly as he's been advised to do. I don't blame him at all. He's been consistent as gravity over 6 years at Ole Miss in that way. But that's where that's where the red flags pop up to me, because there's still losable games. It's not just Oklahoma, right. South Carolina. You're right. What if Lenore Sellers has his Lenore Sellers game, but it's against Ole Miss in a defense that didn't get one single stop, not one stop Saturday in Georgia. That is not an exaggeration.
No, that defense is Swiss cheese. I mean, they're not doing anything this season worth a damn anyways. But anyways, all right.
10-2 gets you into the playoffs, and then next year this whole roster returns for next year, and you're back being a playoff contender again, maybe preseason top 5. That's great, but for the context of this year, and with all the backdrop of Florida, maybe LSU, other jobs coming open, you can't, if you're Lane Kiffin, allow a repeat of 2022. You lost 4 of your last 5 games when that team could have been the 4th 10-win team in your 5 years at Ole Miss, and you just cratered it.
That was a massive disappointment.